All right, well, just to be wise of everybody's lunch hour, I want to go ahead and introduce our speaker and get us going for the day. We appreciate you all so much for joining our June advocacy meeting today. It's crazy that we're already in June. It's 6 months into the year. That's very wild to me. But we thank you all so much for being here, and we definitely have a great speaker and a great presentation in store today. So I'm going to start by just talking about how families are often asked to repeat their story over and over. On June 3rd, today, Tom Hobbs is going to talk about, which he also has a nickname called the Man in the Hat. He's the co-founder of Showing Our Strengths Publications, and he'll will share a powerful yet simple approach that helps advocates, families, and professionals communicate in ways that create understanding and real connection. Today, you can expect an engaging session filled with practical tools, storytelling techniques, and ideas you can start using right away. So Tom Hobbs, known as the Man in the Hat, he's right here with us today. He's the co-founder of Showing Our Strengths Publications and Journey Book Stories. Tom has spent years helping families, advocates, and organizations use simple storytelling tools to create understanding and reduce advocacy fatigue and empower voices to be heard. Through interactive trainings, books, and real world advocacy tools, Tom focuses on making communication easier, more human, and more effective. Tom, we thank you so much for taking the time to be here today to present for us. We look forward to working with you again in the future, and you can take it away, sir.
Marvelous. Thank you, Dustin. Yeah, I'm right here visiting. I'm in Tallahassee today, in Florida, Panhandle area. I'm from Denver, Colorado, so wee bit of humidity is a lot to me down here. I'm used to dry air, high altitude. Yeah, I got hair volume down here. It's kind of hilarious. The world, let me share back to many years ago. Dear friend, a buddy of mine, Wes. Wes was about the 6th grade at the time when this event happened. Wes was in a middle school north of Denver, Greeley, Colorado, and typical morning, he'd be going through the front doors. He had an assistant who would be pushing his wheelchair, and they'd be, typical boys trying to really avoid hitting somebody's feet. Come on, 6th graders. And make it to his class with his assistant, where they'd start their day, work on projects, and bounce back and forth. See, Wes was in a wheelchair because he had a very severe section of cerebral palsy. He had a toy box accident when he was about 5 years old. Changed his life, his family life. But man, Will was sharp. Wes was everything. I'm sorry, I keep saying Will. Wes was sharp. He knew what was going on. But he noticed, especially early in the year of 6th grade, the janitor would often see him coming in and stop and smile at him and tip his hat. Say, Sawubona, good morning, Wes. And then continue on his day. But Wes realized that he'd feel just a little bit different. He'd sit a little higher in his chair. Well, one day his assistant and him were working in the computer lab at the time. It was pretty new to him at that school at that time. And Wes found a way, because he used a speech augmentation device at that time. It was a recording, it scanned, it was slow, it was processing, but he could find a way. And his assistant was good to work with him. And finally got across to her. He wanted to know what the janitor kept saying every morning. So they started searching. Google came to play then. And they found Sawubona refers to a common term variation from Zulu, South Africa area, Africa, meaning I see you. I acknowledge you. Well, Wes's assistant and Wes both started going. They could see the smile. They felt the smile because being acknowledged by just another person in the room, the janitor, wasn't just another person, but another person. So quick, they continued to search, and they found the appropriate reply when someone would say, Sawubona, I acknowledge or see you, is to say, Sikona. Thank you, I've been seen. I acknowledge your respect. Oh. And yeah, they practiced that. And of course, his goofy machine at the time was a little difficult, but they managed to record that reply into his machine and set it to where he could use a button to reply to it quickly. Just before Christmas break, early in his year, Wes is coming into school. The janitor sees him in the morning, tips his hat, says, "Salvador, Wes." Wes was ready. He hit his button and played the reply of Sicona. The janitor stopped and turned and came back and, "Wes, you know Salbona and Sicona?" "Oh, put a tear to my eye. Thank you." That little respect to acknowledge someone and to be seen changed Wes's attitude, and he continued that everywhere for the rest of his life that I've known him and shared with him, to acknowledge others. Think about it. When has somebody ever acknowledged you? Did you sit a little higher in your chair? Just a simple, "Hi, Dustin, how are you?" That's a simple way of doing it. Wes. Salbona. See, not every story has to be big or scary, does it? Just acknowledging. Really, that's what advocacy begins with. Advocacy begins with someone that feels seen, but the action begins when someone feels understood. So why are we here? This is a great group of people. We've got 20, 30 people in the room. Feel free to put in the chat, take your microphones off, shout out. Why are we here? Why are you here? Why am I here? I'm here to share some information that I've learned from great mentors to assist you. Is there any specific reasons you're here? Put it in the chat. Dustin can watch for it. Open your microphone. Give me a shout out. There's often some common things. Okay, a couple of them is because there's family advocacy that needs help. Okay, I see that, yeah. Advocating for a child. Yeah. Any others pop up? Oh, yes, okay. Partly for advocating for inclusion. That can be more at a higher level, or just in the same family. Sometimes you have to advocate in your own family, right? In your own house. Yeah. True, yeah. We all have different causes, but I think we have very similar why. The why. And feel free to shout out, like I say, if you disagree with this why. Yours may be just a little bit different, but I believe we want people to understand us. That's really the why. Just understand so that we can go forward, proceed, have greatness. Have you ever heard where people would talk about saying, well, facts are important. But somebody else say, but the story's important. Facts or story, which is it? I'll let you decide. Marcy Rankin, dear friend of mine. Her and her husband were at the sixth grade, I think sixth grade is going to be a common today, sixth grade parent-teacher conference with their son, Will. That's why I was confused earlier, Wes and Will, similar friends. Will, in his art class, and his teacher, and his parents. The teacher being very much being very concerned for Will, saying, Will's really a nice young boy, he's good. But he's 17 projects behind. He just won't apply himself. Has anybody ever had a teacher or somebody try to say that you or your child just wouldn't apply themselves with a smile on their face? I don't think most of us have. That's a less than an excellent way of saying it, in my opinion. But anyhow, back to the story. Marcy and her husband were sitting there. The teacher said that, and so Marcy's face had changed a little bit. She thought the teacher had better understandings. And she reached in and grabbed a book that she had written and put together about her son Will and handed it to her and sat there for 3 minutes and let the teacher read the book for 3 minutes. The teacher's face changed. Her attitude changed. The next couple of days, she shared that with the other teachers and the school leadership. Their attitude changed. All because Marcy had a little book that described her son's situation a little better. The attitude changed to the point where when Will graduated high school, about 18 months ago now, when Will graduated high school, the art teacher was the one that handed him his diploma. Yeah, there was a little bit of an impact that happened because of the book. All right, the backstory, so you know what the teacher went through, was that the story shows of Will's situation. Simple little book that showed a picture of Will as a 5-year-old boy, playing with firemen, playing soccer, he and his brother playing on mom's phone. Typical 5-year-old boy. Well, that night, Marcy and her husband had taken off to go to a couple's retreat. They were about 15 minutes away when they got a phone call from their friend where they had left their son for the weekend. Will fell and bumped his head. Marcy, simple reply. Well, he plays soccer all the time, bumps his head. Give him a hug, give him an aspirin. All right. 6 minutes later, the Indianapolis EMT fire department called him and said, meet us at Riley Hospital. Marcy and Tom immediately turned around. But Will had been on a couch in their friend's house at the foyer, second story, open balcony, rail, with a couch backing up to that rail. What's a 5-year-old boy do with a couch and a physio ball? Yeah, he was bouncing like a boy would do. Next thing you know, he launched himself over the rail, down 14 feet. Traumatic brain injury. Wish that on no one. Fortunately, the EMTs got him to Riley Hospital. They put him back together as best they could. He had great support over the next several years that Marcy documented, put into her little book. Simple pictures, a few phrases that showed his situation before, his situation during, his growth and support, and a little bit of his outcome. Yeah, there's a picture of him when he's a young teenager. Yeah, bad teenage mustache. We all know who that kid looks like. Might be one of our kids, might be our niece or nephew. Probably not our niece. But Will recovered in many, many ways. So outwardly, as the art teacher originally saw, Will's just another goofy teenage boy. Inwardly, because of the TBI, traumatic brain injury, some little connections aren't as consistent. And he needed assistance. The teacher now learned, at the end of the day, sit down with Will, take 2 minutes, maybe 3, confirm with him his next project, what's coming up. Next thing you know, he got right back on track, life changed, then they duplicated that system with the other teachers. All because Marcy didn't just say the facts. My son has a TBI, you need to do this, his IEP says this, all these facts. Has anybody ever said that? I think I see a few people who are having shivers. Yeah. Or you've done it or helped somebody else. Well, I don't think the facts in this situation, and probably in many, would not have sold the teacher to make that great a change that quickly. Yeah. The story. The story sold the situation. I'm a believer in story, and I see it here. I see it around the world. Professionally storytelling for years in schools. I've used it for volunteer organizations I've been a part of. When you remember the story, may not be the facts, but you remember enough of the story and how you felt from that story, boom, that matters. Yeah, I had my screen up here. That was my studio back in Denver. I have my hats, and I'm known as the man in a hat. You see, I was traveling and speaking. I mentioned speaking in schools. I was speaking in a large high school in Aurora, Colorado, which is just east of Denver. Happened to be another volunteer organization, a junior achievement, great for teaching financial literacy for youth. Volunteer. Anyhow, I was in the school, and I'd spoke early in the morning. I was going to like third period class, and two boys saw me in a high school, and they saw me, hey, there goes that guy from first period with the financial guy, the man in the hat. So I locked it up. I've been known as the man in the hat ever since. I go to conferences. If I want to hide, I take my hat off. People walk by. Hey, where's Tom at? It's just a branding. Should acknowledge it. I wear a hat 90% of the time. I have over 100 real hats. This happens to come from Ecuador, Panama style hat. But the man in the hat. I'd rather people remember the story about the man in the hat than the fact that my name is Tom Hobbs. I was born in that. That's facts. But the stories connect. That's what I want to encourage for you. I already know many of you are phenomenally great advocates. You've learned skills, you have resources. There's so many things that you can do, and you love to share with others. I watched many of these Zooms and podcasts you've done, and other associates of ARC across Florida and the United States. You're pretty good about sharing things. The little difference that can help push you farther. Yeah. How to use a story. We all have a story. And it's not a story you make up to tell the teacher why you're late, okay? Or a story of, Mom, I don't want to go to school today. I got an eye ache. Nah. For those in the 60s, look up Cheech and Chong. You can hear a great story about, I don't want to go to school. Yeah. So, stories that explain and assist in understanding. I'm a massive believer in this. You might see behind me, we're setting up for several conferences that we're a part of across Florida throughout June. And my team's out building and assembling things right now for several events. This is one of the banners that we have, and it's simple. I wish you knew me. So I don't have to explain, get out of the way, over and over again. Has anybody ever had that situation? You can just shake your head and say, yes, it's okay. We all have. Sometimes it feels like it's more often than not, right? How many times in 1 week do you have to explain your child's situation to somebody else again, just for them to say, oh, pick the sticks up off the sidewalk so the wheelchair can get through the front door easier? Yeah. I witnessed my friend Wes, that I talked about in the story about Salvona, his family. The fatigue on a family. Go ahead, shout out, raise your hand. Yeah, fatigue is not uncommon, is it? When you're in the middle of it, you don't feel it. But if you're one on the outside and you see a family, you see your friends, do what you can to reduce that fatigue. A little bit of stress reduction changes lives in a family. You can do that. It's not just a tool, it's just showing up sometimes, right? Dustin's shaking his head, yeah. Yeah, just show up for somebody, just that little bit. See, my personal goal in all of the company that we have, showing our strengths publications and advocacy programs that we have and books and all these great tools, right? Does anybody need more tools? I mean, I'm a mechanic as well. I love to have tools, but just having the tools, but not having the guidance of how to use that tool, it's kind of half-served at times. So My personal goal in everything I'm doing nowadays is, can I reduce the fatigue for a family by just that much? I've had enough families come back to me. Those unexpected hugs, the handshake that's a little bit tighter than normal because we assisted to reduce the fatigue. You can do it too. Now, if it's your situation and you finally feel the fatigue, you can also advocate for yourself by asking a friend, family member, acquaintance, can you help me have a little bit of a break? That'll reduce my fatigue just a little bit. And it can be just as simple. Hey, can you hang out with my son while they're at the playground with 3 other kids? I want to go sit on the other side of the park and just look at the ducks for about 10 minutes by myself. A little quiet time. Maybe you're reading a book, prayer, whatever's true for you. That little bit. I mean, feel my shoulders right now, feeling it. That can make huge impact. Huge. Yeah, so this is what we do at conferences. We pose the problem, and many people, their problem is exactly that. I am fatigued. I'm tired of explaining 17 friggin' times. That's a kind term. 17 times a week what my child's situation is, why you don't put the seatbelt over the arms of my son's wheelchair. It keeps breaking the arms. Put it through the single point tie down. What part of it do you not understand? I've had families get a little upset with the special needs school bus driver sometimes because they wouldn't understand the simple directions that cost a lot to repair a chair. But after a child has a book or a guidance that they can share, a simple, hey, this is me and this is how you can better assist me, note even on their wheelchair, and the bus driver goes, oh, now I understand. Your chair is built differently and it needs a single point. Reduce fatigue. Yeah. Any shout outs in the chat? Dustin's happy to share it back with me. If you don't want to get on a microphone, that's fine.
Yeah, we have a few people that are just kind of introducing themselves. We have I hope I don't mess this up, but it's Cyril from Gainesville. He says that he has been an advocate for himself and he loves sports and he worked at University of Florida in a lab as a research assistant.
Yeah,
Hey,
so yeah, my name's Terrell. I'm from Gainesville, Florida, and I work at University of Florida at a Yale lab, research assistant.
Marvelous. I was down there several years ago there in Gainesville. You've got some great buildings and facilities, but it's the people inside that make the difference.
Yeah, and also heard about the advocacy and also stand up for yourself.
Marvelous. Now, you're advocating for yourself often. Do you advocate for others as well?
Yes, I do.
Marvelous. I take my hat off to you and thank you. What's one area that's always a big challenge for you when you're doing that?
For me, I just like come here to help people all the time, and people need something or want something, I always have glad to help them. And I
That,
also help help the young adults doing lots of research and also to come to different meetings and also trying to be more independently.
yeah, independence is huge. I mean, it's one thing to live in mom and dad's house when you're in the 9th grade and build your skills and go forth and follow your passions. Marvelous. Marvelous. Thank you, Sybil.
You're welcome. I like your hat by the way, sir.
My pleasure. I enjoy hats as well. If we ever see each other, let's talk about hats a bit.
Yeah.
and then we also had Kaya. She introduced herself. Kaya Rodriguez. She is a self-advocate in Hillsborough County. And I think she's on. You want to say hi, Kaya?
Hi.
Kaya is very active in all of our calls and all of our meetings. She stays pretty up to date with all of our art stuff. She's awesome.
Marvelous.
Um,
In
I've
in the
known her for
world
a
of
few years now.
art and arts, what is it your passion? How do you assist there?
Um, I am in the Eastern Hillsborough Community Band and been playing clarinet for almost 5 years now. So I just got a brand new one.
Marvelous.
Mhm.
And those are the
I'm
only two we had in the chat so far, Tom.
okay. Well, that's quite all right. Anybody else? Drop something in. I'd love to know where you're from, what your passion is, and we're gonna share an example here shortly. Whether it's Cyril or Kaya or you, we're gonna help craft a story. Show you how easy it is to craft a story, your story, so that others understand. When they understand, then it's easier for them to make a choice and assist. Have you found that to be true, everybody? Just shake your head, yes, because it is true. It's true. It's okay if we have a little fun on here, right? I'm sorry, I'm a grumpy old man sometimes. I'm over 64 years old now, and I've decided if I can't have fun, I'll go to a different park and play, right? Yeah. I am a little brother. You can ask my sister. I'm always going to be her little brother no matter what. She still loves me, she says. Yeah. Uh, when families get excited, yeah, my personal goal, even when families get exhausted, my personal goal, yes, it is to reduce that fatigue, increase the understanding. That creates action. When people understand you, you can create action. Personally, my tools are not the only goal. I've watched and seen so much of the great resources that Dustin, his team, and others across Florida who are associated have for you. Those tools are awesome. I have tools as well that we share. We share communication cards. You know, there's for those who have challenges or auditory skills. We have communication cards that are very durable, assist people. These new ones are prototype. They're non-tearable. You can't tear them. You have to cut them. They're plastic. They can wipe off. They're a pretty cool tool. But they're not as good as that story of why I use this tool. No different than when we craft a book. Matter of fact, I mentioned we're going to go to the alopecia conference here in about 3 weeks down in Orlando. And so Avery, who's a young 10-year-old who has the challenge of alopecia, we put together her quick little, what we call a journey book. It just shows pictures of her and her friends and her families and things she does and goes to school and the joys she has and, yeah, some of the challenges. You know, there was a tough situation on a school bus one day when another kid started not being as polite about her hat and her lack of hair. Thanks to the school bus driver the next day and other students, well, they changed some attitudes. These books are great. We craft these for people all over the world automatically. It's a tool to advocate with to get that understanding clear. Once again, unless you have your story, and older kids as well, we have books we generate for, we call them I Wish You Knew Me. I Wish You Knew Me. And Cyril, if I'm down in Gainesville, I'd like to make sure that you've got one of these that you can share with other people about I wish you knew me about this, then you wouldn't ask questions about that, and we could go do this. See how simple it can be? We also crafted, since I'm sharing all these fun things, an advocacy guidebook that we share that is very simple, same format. I'm teaching that format without you even realizing it. It helps people in 8 pages to advocate, whether you're advocating for a young child, an older child, an adult, a senior, dealing with bureaucracy. You know, we heard about that one. A dear friend in St. Augustine, Randall Crosby, he's reading the chapter. Oh, yes, in the book we have these where you can scan and auditory listen to each chapter as well. Well, my buddy Randall, he's blind, visually impaired. He's reading the visually impaired chapter. Yeah, you want to know how? Because he's smart and he knows how to use technology and figure out a way. But it's recorded for people. So yeah, tools are great. Using them for the purpose of getting understanding. That's helping another human understand your situation. And you got to break the tension, so you never know what we come up with. I Say I'm a little brother. All right, here's the formula. Let me show this to you. I'm going to put my little visual screen back up. This here where it says grace. G-R-A-C. G-R-A-C. This is a formula I've used most of my life, and I think you'll find that many people use this without thinking about it. When they meet somebody, they focus on, when you meet somebody, we start with a gift, a G, a gift. We share a gift of a smile. I saw that with Kaya right now. She shared a smile as soon as we asked her to share her mic. Boy, big smile. That's a gift. Now, gifts don't have to be big like a Lamborghini every time. It can be a simple flower, a smile, acknowledgement, a tip of the hat. When you start with a gift, the other people go, oh, they gave me something. I feel I should reciprocate and give back.
Like a gift card.
You got it, my friend. Exactly. And then R for grace. R is to relate with a story. Yeah, I'm big on story. Story. And we've already heard that from the both of you. You have a story. But when you relate the story for this group, this audience, why we're here today, that makes the next step very important and very easy. That's the A. We want to align with the why. If I know your why you're at this meeting, and I know my why at this meeting, then we're discussing the same important items today. We're not talking about whether the Chicago Cubs or Denver Broncos or whatever sports team's going on. That may not be important for us today. That's not our why. Our why might be, why is there a bump at the entry to the lunchroom that my son's wheelchair cannot get over easily? That's the why for today, maybe. Okay? Gotta know the why. Tell your story. And if you haven't already figured it out, G-R-A, the align. C is to connect with humor. Does anybody feel like we've connected today? Dustin and I have had a little conversation. We've laughed and smiled. I've seen smiles from others already here. Humor. A little bit of humor. I'm not talking about being a stand-up comic. By the way, most stand-up comics do put down. Humor elevates. My opinion, humor elevates. Humor. I mentioned that because my friends just brought over, had a young boy at the event yesterday bring me this little rubber chicken. I don't know why, but it made me smile big time. He just, here you go, sir. I like your hat. I give you a gift. Well, it made me smile. So my friends look back in my bag of tricks because I used to carry I'm carrying them around even more now. This is called a pair of emergency clown noses that we put in a little kit. Clown noses, just simple foam noses. And the reason is, I'm a guy. I have attitude. I wouldn't put on a clown nose at a public event, walking into Publix. But if I had a buddy standing next to me saying, I bet you won't, and I'll turn, oh, well, I bet I would, then you both would put a clown nose on. Yeah, find a little humor. You can do it in your way. So GRAC, give a gift, relate with a story, connect with a bit of humor, frivolity, smiles. E is to empower. Empower your voice. If your voice isn't heard, action will not take place. Let's show you how simple a story can be. Simple a story. And we do this called a story lab at all these conferences we go to. Matter of fact, I'm going to be hanging out with Arc of Florida over in Jacksonville here in a week. Then after that, we'll be down at the Family Cafe in Orlando. Family Cafe, if anybody's heard about it, raise your hand, shout out, put up big hearts up. Yeah, they're based out of Tallahassee. They put the event on in Orlando, but they affect tens of thousands. I say tens. They expect 14,000 attendees this year. It's the largest family advocacy event in the United States, to my knowledge. They have vendors. There's over 75 breakout sessions speaking on various subjects. Matter of fact, Marcy, my partner, who's not here right now, but she will be next week, she and I are speaking a workshop on helping the siblings of a family with a child with disabilities. Yeah, the siblings, they need advocacy too. They may not be in the chair, but so that's just one of the areas. Once again, telling their stories, helping them tell their stories. Let's help you tell a story. But what we do with these family labs, we have a simple little, let me show you. We have somebody fill out a simple little card. It gives us some basic information. I run it through a simple program I've developed. We put together with great speakers and mentors and storytellers who know what a hero's journey story is. And we can pop back and print out for them a copy of their story, 160 words. They walk away with it. So if you're at the Family Cafe, come on over to booth 706. We'll show you how we do that. We'll give this to you. It's a gift that we share with the world of your simple story. Kaya, would you like to help me and participate in creating a story? Very simple. And just an example for others to know how simply we and you can do it. Would you like to assist a little bit, Kaya? I'll ask 3 questions.
Go ahead.
All right. First of all, and we'll follow the guidelines here so it stays simple. I'm going to ask, first of all, your name. I think I've got it. Go ahead and pronounce it for me the way you prefer it.
It's Kaya Rodriguez.
Kaya Rodriguez. Beautiful name, Kaya.
Thank you.
Tell me one thing, 1 or 2 words, that you love to do. What's one thing that you love to do?
My favorite thing is playing my clarinet.
Clarinet. Marvelous. I was at the Tallahassee Big Band dance last night. They didn't have a clarinet, but boy, they had an itty bitty saxophone. The guy almost made it sound like cool clarinet. Who is someone important to you in your life? Someone important to you?
One important person would be my uncle. He's from Istanbul, Turkey.
Not everybody has an uncle from Istanbul. That's pretty cool. Now, what's one challenge that you might deal with on a basis? One challenge.
Teaching others how to advocate for themselves.
Teaching advocacy. That's kind of funny. We're on a call about advocacy. Yeah, fine. All right. This is how quick we can take that little bit of information. My brain does this automatically, but we're going to be doing it at the Family Cafe and other conferences. It's very successful. We put this through and then we print it out in a betterly articulated formula that I might do. But let me attempt it, okay? Now, I mean no disrespect, but this is my interpretation of how you can tell a story. We'll have a character, have a goal, have a barrier, conflict, we have a resolution. That's a storyline, okay? So, here's the story about my friend Kaya Rodriguez. Kaya, what's your biggest joy? Well, Kaya tells me, Kaya, I love music. I love the outdoors. I love to hear the birds sing. I love to play my clarinet with the birds because then we make music together. It causes smiles everywhere and we meet new friends because of that. It draws attention in a positive way. And I learned positive attention. The best way to do that, my uncle taught me. Yeah, he's a hero, a mentor to me. My uncle. Yeah. Cool thing about my uncle, he's not from Florida. Nah, he's from Istanbul, Turkey. Anybody else know an uncle from Istanbul? Not many of us do. My uncle, he's pretty cool about that. You see, I love to help others. In the world of advocacy, teaching and sharing good tools and methods, it's not always easy. Sometimes it's confusing. The cool thing that my uncle also taught me is that when I share my passion of making music and making music with birds and clarinets, others go, wow, if she can do that so well, I'm sure what she's saying about advocacy is just as true. So that's going to help me as well. Well, I'm excited to hang out with people like her, listen to birds, listen to clarinets, and have great guidance. Sorrel, you think that's a decent story?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And it followed the same little formula, right? We had a character, we had a goal, got a little barrier,
Yes.
conflict. That makes a story. Anybody, and Dustin, you can put it in chat if you'd like. People, feel free to reach out to me. And if you'd like me to reach back to you, keep this secure so it's appropriate. We don't want to share with, well, with this Zoom's going to be on
Yeah.
YouTube and others. But if you'd like to reach out and learn more from me and my team, I would also love to share if I'm traveling in your area. I'm Tom Hobbs. You can always go to Tom, Tom, simple spelling, at. Then it's showingourstrengths.com, showingourstrengths.com, and you can reach to me. We craft advocacy tools and books and reach out and speak and do trainings and around the world as well. Cyril, yes, you have your hand up?
And also be careful like creatures crawling down like alligators and also about some zoos here around here too as well. So we only one zoo we have in Santa Fe Zoo.
I was speaking in Australia and they heard that I'd been to Florida many a times and they go, I hear you got gators up there. And I go,
Mm.
yeah, but they're smaller than yours. And they go, yeah, but we got more snakes than you do. I go, well,
And
not in
also
all parts of Everglades.
and also about some fishes and also about some crocodiles.
Yeah. Australia has true crocodile saltwater. Yeah. And here as well.
I did just I dropped Tom's email in the chat. We're gonna send out information and resources from this meeting, but I did just drop Tom's email so you can, if you want to contact him about anything, you can email him.
Yeah. If there are any questions anybody has, put them in the chat. We're going to wrap this up. I want to respect your time. I hear my neighbors starting to put out a barbecue and it's starting to make me go, I'm not sure what he's cooking, but it really smells good. Uh, yeah, good story. I like to eat. Yeah, I do enjoy flavors and foods. So I told the story of my buddy Wes, in his wheelchair, the janitor seeing him every morning and tipping his hat and acknowledging him, Sawubona. And Wes would sit higher in his chair. He felt better. And he knew why. And he knows why. It's because someone acknowledged him. And he learned to acknowledge them back. I encourage you as well. When you see another person, like we hear in this Zoom, in this chat, acknowledge each other. You know, Kaya smiled. Great. Cyril's definitely advocacy for others. Great, you can notice that. That's why I love having cameras on. And Dustin keeps listening and then he writes down part of the jokes. Yeah, we all got to share jokes once in a while. That's important, that acknowledgement. I encourage you to do that. Every family, every person has a story. Every advocate has a story of their why behind it. Every professional has a story. Now, your stories do not need to be perfect. What I just shared with Kyle a moment ago, was that perfect? No. Was it fun, engaging? Based on the faces I see here, it was. It just
Also,
simply needs to be understood.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. I don't see any more questions besides just a lot of people saying thank you very much for this presentation. Thank you for the tools. And one thing I will mention, based off of one of the comments, these tools are not only great for self-advocates and family members themselves, but staff members as well that work with our clients, like waiver support coordinators, especially waiver support coordinators who are, they have many different clients who they're on a very personal level with. They have cases with. They know about their family life, their home life, their school life, program life, work life. Waiver support coordinators are very involved. So these kind of tools for the waiver support coordinator to work with the self advocate to have that story ready to go about what their challenges are, what their life looks like, to be able to advocate to whether it's a state legislator, whether it's an administrator at a program or a school, whether you're trying to advocate to get better benefits for your life. Though this tool can be a resource not just for self-advocates, but for family members, staff members, waiver support coordinators, for other people around you to use as well, not just the self-advocate. So that's a cool comment. Thank you.
Exactly. And Dustin, just to throw on top of that, I've been invited to assist several similar, like you're talking about, board and other leaders. How can I get my story concise enough? If I got to get in front of down here at the front of the city hall or board of directors or how do I stay concise in 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
The formulas, like I shared, was really simple. You can do that and plug and play the basics. Still has to be your voice. But find a Toastmasters club somewhere and practice. You can go in as a guest. Toastmasters are all over Florida, actually all over the United States and the world. Safe environment to practice building confidence in speaking. That's a simple tool you can do. But yeah, I've helped a lot of board directors, CEOs on down, their team. Just how do I say it in a concise way without getting too verbose? I mean, saying too many words. And be understood. Happy to support with that. You're already on the path for doing this as well, setting great examples. Watch these other Zoom meetings that are on the YouTube. Great stuff. Thank you, Dustin. Keep it going forward.
Yes, sir. Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tom. We appreciate you. There's many of us on this call that we're all going to be at the Family Cafe next week, next Friday. This is actually going to be my first Family Cafe, so I'm really excited about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all again. Just like always, we will send out resources, the link to our YouTube page where the recording of this meeting will be, and I also will. We give out certificates of attendance. They're not official CEUs, just a reminder, but they are certificates of attendance that we give out for this. You just send me an email individually for that request, and I'll take care of it for you. But again, I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much. Self-advocacy and self-advocates are grassroots self-advocacy is the main heart of the Arc of Florida. So, these kind of calls are without these kind of calls and without you all, our main mission would be lost. So, thank you again. We appreciate you. And Tom, I look forward to meeting you next week and hopefully
Yeah.
seeing some of y'all next week at the cafe.
Hey, just a quick shout out. Anybody comes by to the booth 706 and say, I want to know Mr. Yellow. He's a little mascot and a friend of ours. I'll give you a free Mr. Yellow. Just say, I want to know Mr. Yellow. He's one of our advocacy allies.
And I
Just for
did.
the ARC.
Thank you, Tom. And I did drop, if you look in the chat, Tom's email is in the chat. It is tom@journeybookstories.com, and I will send out some more resources information afterwards. Okay. But thank you all again. We gave you like 9 minutes back of your lunch hour, so go enjoy. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
All right.